Today, we're tackling something absolutely critical, but let's be honest, often really frustrating. Actually talking to customers. We've got some great sources here, especially digging into the mom test to try and figure out why so many founders think they're listening, but really aren't.
Yeah, it's a huge issue.
And the sources frame it so well. It's like you're trying to excavate this, super delicate archaeological site. The truth you need, it's fragile, it's really easy to just smash it to pieces. And most founders, they either bring in the bulldozer, just heavy-handed questions demanding validation, or they use a toothbrush. They're so careful, so worried about offending, they just kind of flinch away from actually digging deep enough to see if there's anything valuable there at all.
And that bad data you get from either approach, that's the real danger we need to talk about today. Because everyone says, talk to your customers. Right, we all hear it.
All the time.
Yet businesses still launch products nobody wants, constantly. And why? It's because those bad conversations, they're worse than just useless. They're actively dangerous. They give you that false positive.
Ah, right. The feeling you're on the right track when you're actually not.
Exactly. That illusion of security, it makes you pour money, time, your team's energy into something that, well, it was probably doomed from the start.
Okay, let's unpack this central problem then. If we know most people will be polite, maybe even lie a little to protect our feelings, what's the fundamental shift? How do we stop gathering all that fluff and start getting actual useful data?
It really comes down to discipline and focus. You have to essentially take your idea, your ego, your hopes completely out of the equation. The number one mistake is asking anyone, if your business idea is good.
Because they'll just be nice.
Yes. It's a totally selfish question. It invites a compliment, maybe some vague encouragement, but not facts. Look, it's not their job to hand you the truth on a platter. It's your job to dig it out by asking questions about what they actually do, about their past behavior.
Okay, so we need a system, a framework to steer the conversation away from our ego and towards their reality. The sources boil this down beautifully into 3 really simple rules for crafting those truth-seeking questions.
Rule number 1, talk about their life, not your idea. Simple as that. The second you mention your solution, your app, your service, boom, you've basically contaminated the sample.
How so?
Because they stop thinking about their own problems, their own world. They start thinking about your thing. They start giving you feedback on your potential solution, which isn't what you need yet.
Okay, makes sense. Which leads straight into rule number 2, and this feels like the big one, the real differentiator. Ask about specifics in the past, not generics, not opinions about the future.
Precisely. This is key. If I ask you, hey, would you buy my amazing app next year? What are you going to say?
Probably, yeah, sure, sounds great. Just to be polite.
Exactly. It's a worthless guess. It means nothing. But if I ask, what software did you actually pay for last month? Or tell me about the last time you tried to solve problem X. Now we're talking facts.
Yeah.
Verifiable, actionable facts about actual behavior.
Okay, got it. Past specifics beat future hypotheticals. And rule 3.
Talk less. Listen more. Much more. If you find yourself talking for more than, say, 20% of the conversation, you're not learning, you're pitching. Stop it. Your goal should almost be to, hit silence sometimes. Let them fill the gap. That's often when the real gold comes out, the history, the feelings, the facts.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Let's use that classic example from the sources to show the difference. Rule 2 makes the founder thinking about digital cookbooks for the iPad.
Right. So the failing conversation, the bulldozer approach. The founder pitches, hey, I'm building this gorgeous cookbook app for your iPad. It'll have videos, sharing features. And the response is totally predictable fluff, right? Oh, wow, that sounds amazing.
You should add celebrity chefs.
Exactly. Can it share recipes to Facebook? All this stuff. The founder walks away feeling great, validated. But what do they actually have? A maybe list of features they might never need, and a bunch of non-committal compliments. It's a total false positive.
Right. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Contrast that with the passing conversation, the one that follows the rules. This founder focuses purely on the customer's actual existing behavior. They ask things like, what was the last meal you cooked where you tried a new recipe?
Or what did you use to follow that recipe? Your phone, a book, Google, or even better, tell me about the last time you used your iPad while cooking.
And the difference in answers is huge.
Huge. In one case study, the founder learned the person mainly uses their iPad for, Google travel plans. That shows it's seen as a utility device, maybe not for recipes. They found out the customer only finds new apps if they're advertised in the Sunday paper.
Whoa.
That's a massive marketing insight, right?
Totally unexpected.
And crucially, they learned that, people still buy specialized cookbooks. this person bought a bread making book recently. But the generic all-purpose cookbooks, those are usually just gifts people get, not something they actively seek out.
Wow. So what's the really actionable insight from that second fact-based conversation that the first one completely missed?
Well, the first conversation just gave a vague feature list and some compliments. The second one, it practically handed them a potential business model, or maybe showed the flaws in theirs. They immediately identified two potentially very different customer segments. Younger cooks using Google versus experienced niche buyers still buying print.
Okay.
And they uncovered a potentially fatal risk.
Okay.
Their assumption about marketing, people would just find them in the App Store, might be completely wrong for the segment they needed. Suddenly they have to think about traditional ads, maybe partnerships. That's the power of asking about the past, about specifics.
Right, so you get real constraints, real opportunities, not just wishes.
Exactly. But, even if you ask the perfect question, customers might still throw bad data back at you. Compliments, fluff. So the next practical challenge for founders is learning how to kind of defend against that bad data in the moment, in real time.
Okay, yeah, let's focus on that defense. You mentioned 3 types of bad data. Let's start with the first. Compliments. You called them fool's gold. Feels good, but totally worthless.
Yeah.
Even from, industry experts. Unless
it's backed by some kind of commitment. Otherwise, yeah, pure fool's gold.
Yeah.
A compliment is often just the easiest way for someone to politely end that part of the conversation.
So how do you deflect it? Someone says, wow, that's so cool. I love it. What do you do?
You have to immediately, gently pivot back. And it helps to sort of blame yourself, actually. Makes it less awkward. You see somebody like, oh, rats. Sorry, I think I just slipped into pitch mode there. My bad. Let's get back to you. How are you actually dealing with this kind of problem right now? You have to pull it straight back to their current reality, their current struggles, maybe what they're already spending or doing, however imperfectly.
Got it. Deflect and redirect to the present pain. Okay, second type of bad data, fluff. This sounds like the really dangerous stuff, generics, hypotheticals, and the sources point out the deadliest phrase. I would definitely buy that.
Yes. That phrase should set off alarm bells.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, anything about the future, especially buying intent, it's almost always an over-optimistic lie. Politeness, wishful thinking, whatever, it's not data.
So how do we make rule number 2 practical here? How do we anchor that fluff?
You anchor it by demanding specifics in time. If someone says, oh, I always spend hours researching this problem, your immediate follow-up is, really? Interesting. When was the last time that happened? Can you, walk me through what you did?
Put them on the spot gently?
Gently, yeah. Think about the example of the customer who's always complaining about loyalty cards, right? Hates them all. You show them your slick new loyalty app concept. They say, oh yeah, I definitely use that. Your move. Don't just accept it. Challenge it slightly. Great, it's actually in beta. Can you download it right now? I can send you a link. And suddenly they stall. Oh, maybe next time I'm in the store.
Okay. So their claimed future action doesn't match their immediate willingness.
Bingo. You just learned they're probably a complainer, not an actual customer for your solution. Huge difference.
Okay, third type. Ideas and feature requests. This feels tricky because sometimes customers do have good ideas, right? How do we handle those without just blindly building everything?
We absolutely do not just obey the feature request. We have to dig beneath it. That's the third defense tactic. Look, founders are drowning in ideas. Their own, their teams, their customers. Most of it is noise. Think about those founders building ad tech for MTV. The client kept asking for more analytics features. First basic stats, then CSV export, then PDF export.
And the team just built it, right, thinking they were being responsive.
Exactly. They thought they were doing great customer service. They spent ages building this complex custom analytics dashboard. A total technical rabbit hole.
So what was the mistake? What should they have done?
The mistake was taking the request's CSV export, PDF export at face value. They didn't dig. It wasn't until they were really frustrated and finally asked, okay, wait, why do you need PDF export specifically? What would that actually let you do?
And what was the real reason?
The truth came out. The client didn't actually care about exploring the data themselves, not at all. They just needed a nice-looking branded report, a PDF, that they could forward to their own clients to show them what MTV was doing for them and keep them happy.
Wow, so the job to be done wasn't data analysis, it was client retention reporting.
Precisely. A completely different problem, solvable much more simply, probably. So the practical questions are always, why do you want that feature? What would that actually let you do? And critically, How are you coping without it today? That tells you how painful the problem really is. The rule is, understand the motivation behind ideas and requests, but don't just obey the request itself.
Okay, this process, it sounds effective, but also kind of intense. You've gathered facts, anchored the fluff, dug under the requests. How do you then actually confirm your proposed solution is the right one without falling back into that compliment trap? How do you move from learning to actually testing your solution?
Right. This is where we need to push for commitment and advancement. This is crucial. The hard truth the sources push is that every meeting you have either succeeds in moving things forward or it fails. There's no comfortable middle ground of a meeting that just went well.
No good chats.
No good chats that don't lead anywhere. If you don't actively push for some kind of advancement, you end up creating what the sources call zombie leads. These are people who are super friendly, happy to talk, maybe even give compliments, but they will never, ever actually buy or commit serious resources. You have to push them towards a decision point.
Okay, so how do we measure that? How do we know if we're getting real commitment?
Commitment is demonstrated when the customer gives up something they value. It's not about what you value. The sources talk about three main currencies of commitment. You should aim to get one in every meeting.
All right, let's hear them. I'm guessing cash is king.
Cash is definitely the cleanest signal, yes. A pre-order, putting down a deposit, signing a letter of intent. That's unambiguous. But often, before you get to cash, you need other currencies. First, there's time. Their time is valuable.
So like scheduling the next meeting.
Yes, but a specific next meeting with clear goals, not just let's connect again sometime. It's, okay, great. Can we meet next Tuesday at 10 a.m.? I'll have the wireframes ready based on this conversation for your feedback. Or maybe committing to using a trial version for a non-trivial amount of time, like 2 weeks, and agreeing to give feedback. That's a real time commitment.
Okay, time. What else?
Second currency, reputation risk. This one is often the hardest for the founder to ask for, which is exactly why it's such a strong signal if they say yes.
What does that look like?
It means asking for an introduction to someone important in their world, their boss, maybe their spouse if it's a consumer product, their lawyer if it's complex, or asking if they'd be willing down the line to do a public testimonial or a case study. They're putting their reputation on the line by vouching for you or connecting you.
Wow, yeah, asking for an intro to someone's boss feels scary.
It absolutely does, and that fear you feel, it's directly proportional to the value of the information you'll get from their answer. If they hesitate or refuse to risk their reputation even slightly, it strongly suggests the problem you think you solve isn't painful enough for them to really champion a solution.
Okay, time, reputation,
Yeah.
and the third was cash.
Right. Pre-orders, deposits, LOIs. The ultimate validation.
So this completely changes the kinds of questions you ask towards the end of a meeting, doesn't it? Instead of that bad hypothetical, would you pay $6 for a product that did Y, which just invites lies, what are the good questions that push towards real commitment?
Yeah, you shift focus to the pain they're feeling now and the resources they already deploy or could deploy. Ask about their current spending directly. Roughly how much does this problem cost you right now in time or money? Or what's your current budget allocated to solving this kind of issue? If you're actually showing them something, a prototype or early version, ask for a specific start date. This seems like it could help. When would be a good time for us to actually start a trial?
And the ultimate test.
The ultimate commitment test is simple, kind of brutal, but incredibly informative. Can I buy the prototype right now? Even if it's buggy, half finished. If someone is willing to pull out their wallet for the broken version because the pain is so acute, you know you've hit a real genuine nerve.
That's powerful. So it's not just about learning, it's about driving towards these commitments.
Absolutely. And you can't just wing this commitment process. You have to prepare. The sources recommend having a list of 3 big important questions planned out before you talk to any specific type of person. What are the 3 most important things you need to learn or validate in this conversation? If you don't know that walking in, you're probably wasting both your time and theirs.
I want to pause on something you touched on earlier, this idea of avoiding becoming a learning bottleneck. What does that actually mean for, say, a small startup team?
It's a really common trap. It means one person, usually the founder, does all the customer calls, hears all the insights, and then that knowledge just stays stuck in their head. The rest of the team is flying blind or only getting filtered summaries. If you're the only one learning, the whole company's ability to pivot and adapt gets bottlenecked by you.
So how do you prevent that?
You have to deliberately share the raw learning. Review your notes, maybe even recordings if you have permission, with your team immediately after the conversation. Ask them, what did you hear? Did that match what I heard? What assumptions did this just break? You need that collective processing to really internalize the insights and make sure the whole team benefits. Otherwise, learning stagnates.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So bringing this all together, what does this all mean for our listener trying to build something new? It sounds like it means embracing bad news.
In a way, yes. It means embracing the truth, even when it's not what you wanted to hear. The core lesson here is really about a clear separation of duties. You, the founder, are not allowed to tell customers what their problem is. And in return, they're not allowed to tell you what to build. They own the problem definition. You own the solution creation.
They have the facts about their life. You have the expertise to build something potentially useful.
Exactly. And learning quickly that your initial idea is fundamentally flawed. That's actually massive progress. It saves you months, maybe years of wasted effort and money. You're searching for the truth, not trying to prove yourself right.
So there's genuinely more reliable, actionable insight in a lukewarm that's backed by facts about past behavior.
And in 1,000 enthusiastic responses based on hypotheticals and politeness. Absolutely.
Let's give our listener a final thought to take away, something to chew on.
All right, here's something to think about for your very next customer conversation. In every single one, you should be genuinely terrified of at least one of the questions you plan to ask.
Terrified? Why?
Because that question, the one you're scared, might completely blow up your current business idea, the one that could invalidate everything you think you know. That is almost always the question holding the most valuable, actionable truth. Lean into that fear, ask the scary question.
That's a fantastic practical takeaway. Fear as a compass towards truth. And maybe one final point of application. Remember to keep slicing your customer segments. Get super specific until you know exactly who you're talking to, what the sources call a who-where pair. The who, like the specific job title or persona, the where, the specific context where they feel the pain.
Yeah, like 40-year-old CFO who drowning in expense reports using Excel, where that level of detail.
Once you have that precision, applying these rules becomes much easier. So go find the facts, listen hard, ask the scary questions, and then, yeah, go build your dang company already.